All of the changes and new features in Counter-Strike 2 hints at the future release of the mobile version, new weapons, items, map remakes, mentions of a new anti-cheat, and much more. Hey everyone, Max at the microphone again, and I managed to get first wave beta access to CS2 directly from the devs, and today you'll see one of the most detailed coverage of CSGO on Source 2 and everything you can expect in the future updates. Without further ado, let's get started. Developers have planned a full release of CS2 this summer. The transition of Dota 2 to the new engine took about 3 months, so the end of the beta can be expected around the end of June. The only official way to gain access is to wait for an automatic invite from the developers. There are no gifts, keys or giveaways, so don't fall for any of these scams. The community has already managed to post a correct version, but I strongly advise you to not download anything. Besides the fact that it can contain viruses, you also risk getting a backban. Let's quickly run through the gameplay changes. The hottest thing is the new dynamic grenades. Smoke can be temporarily removed by shots or explosions. Thanks to the new unique system based on a predetermined number of voxel blocks, the smoke calculates and fills absolutely any space, meaning that when activated in some narrow vent, the total number of voxels will not change, meaning the grenade will cover significantly more space than before. There are no more skyboxes, grenades can be thrown from one end of the map to the other. To practice new lineups, you can use a new training game mode where you can see the exact grenade drop location. And there is no need to create a separate bind for jump throw, cause now the game knows when a player starts throwing a grenade while jumping and will automatically adjust the perfect trajectory. Running out of the smoke will temporarily attach a smoke particle to the player. And also there is a feature for colored smokes using the dev protected console commands. At the moment this looks purely like a test feature, but given that there are 8 pre-created color presets, it's possible that the developers will add something like this to one of the casual game modes like Danger Zone, or even make a separate cosmetic capsule with different colored smokes, but that's extremely unlikely.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe my channel and leave a comment for more interesting videos. Thank you. Let's get back to the video.
First-person view of your legs and shadows. Thanks to this, you can now better understand your position or purposely trick your opponents to make the first shot. It's especially fun to kick the football on dust, and the community will definitely create their own football game mode in the future. However, this innovation has a significant disadvantage. Due to the fact that all player models are right-handed, the developers completely cut out the CL right-hand 0 command. Because if you have a weapon in your left hand and the shadow is displayed as if it was in the right, it creates quite a few visual problems. Along with the badass smokes, the developers have completely reworked the particles and effects system. One of the key changes is dynamic blood, which dries up a while after falling on the map geometry. However, this is also a downside for some players, as the air clear decals command is no longer available. And of course the new sub-tick system. Roughly speaking, instead of waiting for the next tick, the game sends data to the server in the same millisecond. Maybe I'm technically a little wrong, but this innovation would be almost 10 times more accurate than it was on Faceit. Even though the panorama was relatively new, the developers still decided to rework many elements. For example, your kill counter now displays different cards for different events, such as headshots, grenade, knife or Molotov kills. A small player counter is displayed underneath the rounds counter to help you quickly understand which side has an advantage. And the map now displays a sound radius in which other players will hear your actions. Speaking of sound, the new Steam Audio sound engine is also worth mentioning. Thanks to it, the sound became richer, bassier and more realistic. And to make it more noticeable, the developers reworked the sound on many weapons. This is most clearly heard on AK-47, Glock or Galil. Thanks to the new Rubicon physics engine, player dolls now interact with each other. And in theory, you could have a whole pile of bodies lying on top of each other without too much affecting your FPS. Besides that, I totally didn't expect such drastic changes to the graphics. New Molotov fluid shader straight out of the Half-Life Alyx, a revamped Zeus effect which a bit cartoonishly wrapping the player in the electricity community, completely redesigned models and improved weapon UVs that will allow to create next level skins, muzzle flash effects that illuminate the whole environment, tracers and bullet impacts, universal FSR upscaling which will help with performance on weak computers, and overall stylistic changes toward cartoonishness similar to Half-Life Alyx. And in future it will help developers to add more interesting content and not get stuck in boring realism. However, some places definitely lack ambient occlusion and everything look too bright. But that's probably done with esports in mind and to improve visibility. In addition, such a major change may be related to the future port of CS2 to mobile phones. About a year ago, there were rumors that developers were planning to make an iOS and Android version of the game. I've covered this many times in my videos, and in addition to the rumors, there were also actual strings that confirmed that info. These include mentions of new platforms and payment providers like Google Play and App Store. But more interestingly, the game info file for Counter-Strike 2 mentions configs for other platforms, and the only available option is connected with mobile devices. It is important to note that previously these config lines were only present in two Valve games, Dota Underlords and Artifact, which are games that were originally designed with mobile phones in mind. And in addition, some console comments even mention limiting or increasing FPS during charging or active gameplay. And this is definitely not related to Steam Deck, as a techno demo called Aperture Desk Job, which was made specifically for Valve's handheld, does not have most of these things. So it's definitely something about the phones. On a side note, Source 2 has native support for mobile devices, so the developers don't even need to create a separate branch of the game. The only problem is proper optimization. In addition, in the game's files there are a huge amount of stuff related to future content. For example, a new probably melee weapon called Pipe currently has an empty icon but appears to be either an actual pipe or a new type of grenade, similar to the pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead 2. A new bear trap item which was previously spotted in code but now we found an actual model and icons which is most likely related to the danger zone. A new fire grenade called Tripwire that activates after the player steps on it and also most likely related to danger zone. And test configs for new game modes like surf or aim maps. So it is possible that the developers are working towards adding official support for many community modes. Besides colored smokes, there are also a huge number of hints for other cosmetic items. For example, there are two knives. One is called Twin Blade, currently has only an icon for the interface and a picture for the inventory, and the other is called Kukri, looks something like Bowie and has a full-fledged model with default animations. There is also a placeholder icon for a pack of agents with different rarity levels, which will apparently be bought in the same way as patches or sticker capsules. Strings related to introducing new in-game announcers, similar to how it's already implemented in Dota, just imagine Gabe Newell commenting on the events. And it seems that the developers are preparing to support skins on the Zeus, as it can now be inspected and the model has been given full support for custom materials. And besides Zeus, it looks like the developers will be adding the ability to publish your own graffiti in the workshop. And it should work the same way as stickers. If your work got accepted, you'll get a percentage of sales. And then, in the files, there are some weird features like mentions of a pet capsule. At the moment, all pets have a placeholder image with a chicken. But potentially in future we can expect a whole new cosmetic item. Whether it'll be companion skins or something completely else remains unclear. Even though the CSGO beta on Source 2 has just been released, judging by the files, the developers are already working on the next iteration, number 12. There are mentions of 3 new weapon collections. The first one is Counter-Strike, with skins that bring nostalgia from previous games in the franchise. The second is Pop Comic, with comic and slightly cartoonish skins. And the third one, Myth and Monsters, which is spiritual successor to the Dreams and Nightmares case with some scary fellas. Along with updating the game, they also completely overhauled the official website. And in addition to all the information about the new engine, styles of a page with the announcement of Counter-Strike 2 includes a mention of a separate blog with info about possible changes to the anti-cheat. And after digging the game files, it turns out that there is a new VACnet module called VAC Live, which automatically terminates the match if one of the players has been caught cheating. In other words, previously VACnet analyzed players only after the end of the game, but now it works in real time and can block cheaters during the matchmaking. The developers will probably reveal more about it themselves in the nearest future. Leave a comment with a